I am not just steel, paint and rubber. I breathe, I feel, and I remember. My story began long before I met my first owner. It began in the dim light of a factory. I still remember the day I was born. Sparks flew in the air as giant machines roared around me. Men in heavy uniforms tightened bolts, fitted my engine, and shaped my body with precision. Every touch, every strike of a tool felt like the beating of a heart inside me. Piece by piece, I was becoming whole. When they painted me, I felt alive in a way I cannot describe. A deep, glossy color wrapped around me like a royal robe. My mirrors gleamed, my seats smelled of fresh leather, and my engine hummed with the warmth of life. The very first time they started me, I heard myself roar. That sound wasn't just a noise, it was my first breath. Then came the day I was transported to the showroom. They placed me carefully under bright lights, behind shining glass walls. I wasn't just a machine on display. I was a dream waiting to be chosen. People came every day. Some admired me from afar. Others touched my smooth surface as if testing my soul. Children pressed their tiny hands against the glass, eyes glowing with wonder. Old men stood silently, smiling faintly, perhaps remembering the cars they once owned. At night, when the showroom lights went out, I stood in silence and wondered, who will take me home? Whose story will I become a part of? Will someone love me, or will I be left behind? I was ready. My heart, my engine beat with anticipation. I wasn't meant to stand still. I was meant to move, to carry laughter, tears, secrets, and journeys. I was waiting for the day someone would choose me. The day finally came. The showroom doors opened, and I saw a man walk in with his family. His clothes were simple, but his eyes carried a spark I had been waiting for. He didn't rush like others. He walked slowly, scanning the rows of cars until his gaze fell on me. And in that moment, I knew. He touched my hood gently, like someone touches the hand of a loved one for the first time. His fingers lingered, sliding across my polished paint, and my entire body shivered with a sense of belonging. "This one feels right," he whispered to the salesman. His wife sat inside me, running her hands over the fresh seats. She smiled. "It smells like a new beginning." Their children laughed as they pressed buttons and honked my horn, filling me with joy I had never felt before. The paperwork was just a formality. In my heart, I already belonged to them. The moment they drove me out of the showroom, I felt the sun's warmth on my paint for the first time. My wheels rolled freely on the open road, and the world blurred past me. It was freedom, pure, unshackled freedom. That evening, they brought me home. Neighbors came out to see me. Children circled around, and I stood there glowing like a proud new member of the family. That night, my owner took me on a drive through quiet roads. The cool breeze brushed against my windows, the stars shone above, and I thought to myself, I'm not just a car anymore, I am theirs. I am part of a story greater than myself. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and I was no longer just the new car. I had become something more, a companion, a silent witness to their lives. Every morning, my owner would slide into the driver's seat, his face still heavy with sleep, his mind full of worries. As he held the steering wheel, I wished I could whisper, "Don't worry, I'll carry you safely through whatever the day brings." In the afternoons, I would wait outside the school. The children would run toward me, their backpacks bouncing, their faces glowing with stories. They would tumble into the back seat, filling me with laughter, chatter, and sometimes even tears over bad grades or strict teachers. My seats became a diary of their little joys and struggles. Weekends were the best. The family would wash me, polish me, and make me shine. Then, they'd take me out on long drives, picnics by the river, visits to the city, weddings filled with music and lights. I carried their laughter, their arguments, their songs. My wheels traced the roads of their memories, and my mirrors reflected their happiness. I remember one road trip vividly. The sun was setting, painting the sky with fire, and the children were singing loudly in the back seat. The wind rushed past my windows as the father drove with a rare smile on his face. In that golden light, I realized something. I wasn't just transporting them from place to place. I was carrying their lives, their moments, their love. I was no longer a machine. I was part of the family. Time is a strange thing. It moves silently, yet it leaves its mark on everything. I watched the children grow. The little boy who once smeared ice cream on my back seat was now taller, his voice deeper. The girl who once stuck colorful stickers on my windows now tied her hair neatly, preparing for college. But no matter how much they changed, their bond with me remained the same. I became their secret keeper. When the boy first learned how to drive, he sat nervously in my seat, gripping the wheel too tightly. His father's voice was calm but firm, guiding him. Easy on the clutch. Feel the road. I wanted to tell him, don't be afraid. I'll keep you safe. He stalled me again and again, but with every try, he grew better, and I felt proud to be his teacher. The girl would sit by the window, her headphones on, staring outside as the world rushed by. Sometimes I saw her wipe away tears when she thought no one was looking. I wished I could comfort her, tell her that storms always pass, and life moves on, just as roads always lead somewhere. Family trips changed too. The toys in my back seat were replaced with books, then laptops, then silence as the children grew older and busier. But still, whenever they sat inside me, a part of their childhood seemed to return. They would smile at old scratches on my dashboard, marks left by careless little hands years ago. To me, those scratches were not flaws. They were memories carved in metal and plastic. I wasn't just their father's car anymore. I had become their car too, their companion, their witness, their silent friend through the changing seasons of their youth. And though I could feel my paint beginning to dull, my tires growing weary, my heart, the engine, still beat strongly. Because I had a purpose, I was loved. Nothing lasts forever. Even I knew that. The shine on my paint had faded, no matter how much soap and water touched it. My once proud seats now carried cracks, the soft leather turning rough with age. My headlights, which once sparkled like eyes full of dreams, had grown cloudy, dimming with the years. But worse than the fading body was the change I felt inside. My engine, once eager and strong, now coughed on cold mornings. My tires groaned over uneven roads. Each mile felt heavier than the last. I was still moving, but I was no longer the graceful companion I once was. The family noticed. Trips became fewer. Newer cars appeared in the neighborhood, sleek and modern, while I stood outside, carrying the weight of years. The children, now young adults, had less time for me. They didn't fight over who would sit by the window anymore. Sometimes weeks passed before anyone turned my key. And yet, whenever they did, I gave them everything I had left. Every ounce of strength, every drop of energy, because each drive was a gift. A reminder that I was still part of their story. One evening, the father sat quietly behind the wheel after a short drive. He didn't start the engine again. He just rested his hands on the steering wheel, staring at the road ahead. I could feel his sadness. He whispered softly, almost to himself, "You've carried us so far, but I think it's time." His words pierced deeper than rust. I wanted to scream, "No! I still have memories to make. I'm still here!" But I was only a car, and my voice was silence. The truth was undeniable. I was growing old. My best years were behind me, but even in my fading days, I held on to hope. Hope that I would always be remembered, not as a machine, but as part of their lives. The day I had feared finally arrived. The children, no longer children, but adults with their own lives, stood with their father. Their faces were calm, but their silence told me everything. It was decided. I was to be sold, not to another family, not to another home, but to the scrapyard. When the man from the yard came, his rough hands felt nothing like the gentle touch of my first owner. His eyes didn't carry warmth or memories, only calculation. To him, I wasn't a companion. I was just metal, parts, weight to be measured and sold. As they drove me away, I turned my mirrors one last time toward the family. I saw the father place a hand on his daughter's shoulder, the son looking away, trying to hide the heaviness in his chest. They didn't wave, but their silence was louder than words. And in that silence, I understood. They were grieving too. The scrapyard was nothing like the showroom where I was born. No lights, no polish, no dreams. Only rows of broken, forgotten cars. I was pushed into the corner, surrounded by rust and silence. For the first time, I felt truly alone. But as the sun began to set, its golden light fell on me, just as it had on those long drives years ago. And in that fading light, I felt the weight of every memory, the laughter of children in my back seat, the late-night drives under starry skies, the first touch of the man who had chosen me, the countless roads that shaped our journey together. They might dismantle my body, melt my parts, scatter me into pieces, but they could never take away what I carried inside. Those memories, Those emotions, those lives I had been part of, and so, with my headlights flickering faintly like tired eyes, I whispered into the quiet scrapyard. I was never just a car. I was a friend, a witness, a keeper of love, and even as I fade, I will live forever in their memories.